What is up, everyone? My name is Zach, and welcome to another collab today. And we're also talking about It again. Yeah, It, still breaking records, still being an awesome movie. But with a lot of talk coming about It and the casting for who's going to play the adults, I thought I'd bring in a friend who also had hosted our spoiler review, and he's a big It fan. I thought we would talk about who would be our choices for who should play the adults of each of the kids of the Loser Club. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name is Cody Curtis. I want to give a big thank you to Zach for inviting me to do this. He knows how much I love it. I know how much he loves it. We just think it's fantastic. We've both read the book. The book is phenomenal. And I'm just excited to get this thing started.
Just like you said, let's get it started. We're going to start with one of the main characters of the Loser Club, Billy. Do you want to go first, my friend?
Oh, sure. For Billy, I was thinking to myself, because with how well It is doing right now and how professional the film was as a whole, I would really like for Jake Gyllenhaal to play Billy. Because we all know that Jake Gyllenhaal, he's a phenomenal actor, he's got the dramatic chops, and I feel like he could add some levity to this next chapter of this amazing film.
Dude, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's a great choice. I actually had him originally, and then I actually switched him for a different actor, but you're totally right. Jake Gyllenhaal would be a great pick for Billy, but I thought I'd go a little different, and I went with Michael C. Hall from Dexter. We haven't seen him in a while. I'd love to see him get back on the camera, and I think he would be really good as Billy too, because Billy, for me, I think he fits that personality too of how Billy was. I could imagine Michael C. Hall playing that same character when he was younger, and then growing up and playing that character as he's older, and just the same things. Like, he has kind of like the same subtleties as Jake Gyllenhaal. I still do think Jake Gyllenhaal is a better actor, but I'd really like to see Michael C. Hall get back out there and act. Like, I'd like to see him play Billy in something that's this big of a phenomenon.
Tonight, it's gonna happen again. You're absolutely right. Michael C. Hall, he hasn't really done a lot since Dexter, and the interesting thing is, if he joins onto It, if he gets chosen, he won't be playing a serial killer. He'll be going against one. So that's actually a cool take right there. But you're absolutely right. Michael C. Hall, even though I would prefer Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael C. Hall is a really good choice.
Hands, steady hands, steady hands. Yeah, you're totally right with everything you're saying there. But for our next thing, we have Stan. And Stan, he's a pretty important character in the next one. And for me, I'll go first this time, and I actually picked Casey Affleck. Will Casey Affleck do it? I don't know. This movie's been pretty busting out loads right now. It's getting really big popularity, and maybe Casey Affleck will step behind and be like, hey, I'll do a horror movie. I don't remember him ever doing a horror movie, and I think he'd be able to portray a lot of what Stan goes through in the sequel, especially if you've seen his performance in Manchester by the Sea.
It's a really good choice. I mean, Gone Baby Gone, Manchester by the Sea. Casey Affleck is a really established actor, and he is a phenomenal choice, just like Jake Gyllenhaal. Who I had for Stan, however, was Bill Hader. Because Stan, as we saw from this last film, like every character inside of the Losers Club, he has the ability to show some levity. But I also feel like Bill Hader has some dramatic chops that we haven't seen from him yet. Because Bill Hader, for the most part, has just been comedy, 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 comedy. And I would like to see him stretch his dramatic chops and see what he can do.
Yeah, dude, Bill Hader's a great choice too. I think I've seen him he's had some dramedy roles. He's had some drama parts in Trainwreck. He's had some drama parts in The Skeleton Keys. I think that's what it's called, Kristen Wiig. But I think that would be really cool to see him come in and actually do that. I haven't seen Bill Hader in a lot of stuff either, so I would like to see him do that.
Hey, moving past him, we should probably talk about who we'd like to portray Richie Tozier. Zach, you take us away on this one.
Alright, Richie Tozier. This was a really hard choice because Richie, hands down, is probably one of the best characters. Apparently, he's a legend playing this role, and Finn did a phenomenal job playing him, so I thought who else to get him would be a sarcastic guy. If you've ever seen Silicon Valley or you've seen Deadpool, you've seen this man, TJ Miller. I'd love to see TJ Miller play Richie. I think he has some dramatic chops too in there, but he also is just a sarcastic asshole. He has a lot of those moments, and he can show fear as well. I would just like to see TJ Miller do this role. For one, I think he has more roles to him, especially seeing Silicon Valley, but he also has those great comedic chops and those great one-liners and improv that he can throw out just like Finn did for the role of Richie. So I think TJ Miller would be a different type of casting to put in here, but I'd like to see him do it.
TJ Miller is an interesting choice, considering I hope if they do go with TJ Miller, that it'll make up for the past few performances that he's had so far. Personal choice for Richie is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because Joseph Gordon-Levitt, if he's proved anything through Don John, through Looper, through 500 Days of Summer, is that he's got comedic chops, he's got dramatic chops, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just a phenomenal actor. He's loved by pretty much everybody when it comes to Hollywood. He's loved by pretty much every audience, and I just think he can portray that really sarcastic wit that Richie has, but also bring the drama when it's time to bring it.
You know what? Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a great choice. I would love to see him do this too, because he's never done a horror film too, and I think he would do phenomenally in here. Just for the fact that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like you said, 500 Days of Summer, 50-50, whatever you want to say, he has really good dramatic chops. When he shows up on the screen, he has this great energy on him as well. And playing Richie needs that energy, and I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt would be able to show it.
Oh, more than likely. You know, I love TJ Miller, but for me personally, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has proven to me time and time again that he is such a well-established actor. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Joseph Gordon-Levitt performance.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. And that, you know what, yours is the more safe choice. TJ Miller is more of like the odd one out. Like if you pick him, it's kind of a risk, but it's kind of not. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's a very safe pick, but I'd love to see him take on the role of Richie, and I think that would be phenomenal. But moving ahead, you know who Richie had great chemistry with in the original It movie, and that was Eddie. And my pick for Eddie is Adam Scott from Parks and Rec or Step Brothers, whatever you want to say it. I think Adam Scott would fit that persona so well, especially if you've seen Parks and Rec. You know how Adam Scott is, and I think he'd kind of be able to fit that persona of Eddie. Even after all the events of this movie, I think he would be able to fit a lot of those personas, that personality, and keep that great chemistry with him and Richie as well into the sequel. Because I feel like what they're going to do is, with the writing, they're obviously going to put some lines between them two, just like they did in the first movie, because a lot of audience are going to want that. And seeing if you got Adam Scott to go with either TJ Miller or Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that would be great back and forth with them.
Interesting, and one thing I'm going to say that I can never take back is the fact that I have never seen Parks and Rec. I haven't, so as far as your choice is concerned, I can't really speak about that. What I can speak about is, for me personally, I would love to get Christian Bale as Eddie Kaspbrak. And one thing we know from the writing, from everything that came with this first It movie, is the fact that Dylan Glazer's performance as Eddie, it could have been so one-sided, it could have been so cheesy, it could have been so over the top, but it wasn't. And that same perspective of the character of Eddie, I feel is going to translate to the second film with the dialogue between him and Richie, and I feel like Christian Bale, once again, not only is he the master of body transformation, but the guy is an Oscar-winning actor, he's a phenomenal actor, and I would love to see Christian Bale in a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. I just would. And
dude, seeing Christian Bale, Jake Gyllenhaal, and any of these other cast members that come on, I mean, Christian Bale would be a really good pick for Eddie too, because I like if you've seen American Psycho or any of those, like, he has that charisma, that weird sided charisma, but he would show a really good side of that, and he can play, honestly, Christian Bale can play any role, in my opinion. He has never done a bad performance, in my opinion, or even mailed one in. Even in his worst movies, he always does a fantastic job, and I think him playing Eddie would be a great job, dude. That is a great choice. Let's face it, I'm pretty sure that people are 50-50 when it comes to Disney's Newsies. I mean, I enjoyed it, I saw the flaws that it had in it, but Christian Bale was definitely the best part of that movie. And by the look of the list of people we're choosing, we might, if it ends up this way, be looking at It Chapter 2 as a film that could be nominated, or at least the actors in it could be. Yeah, I agree. I mean, It Chapter 1, I think that should be nominated, but that's besides the point. We're moving on to the next character, and it's the lovable Ben. Ben is awesome. I love Ben in the whole movie. I wish he would have given a little bit more, but I think the actor who played him did such a fantastic job playing him, just for the simple fact that he was the exposition-heavy character, and he delivered it fantastically. So moving ahead, if you've read the book, this might be a little bit spoiler, but Ben does lose a lot of weight, and he becomes this really handsome guy in the book. So who does he play? I think Matt Damon should play Ben. And I think that because Matt Damon, 1, I could see him kind of looking like him. 2, I think Matt Damon's a solid actor. 3, I think Matt Damon holds that same charisma and lovability that Ben carried throughout the first part of this film.
It's a really good choice. And once again, Matt Damon, Oscar-worthy, award-winning actor. The guy Matt Damon is one of those actors where he has done no wrong in my eyes. Even those films that people are kind of split on, I always think that he's good in them. My personal choice, however, he did lose a lot of weight in the book, and he's more than likely gonna lose a lot of weight when it comes to It Chapter 2. And I would love to get our lovable fat guy turned amazing fit guy, Chris Pratt, to play Ben Hanscom.
Chris Pratt ended up playing Ben. One, I think it would be great because Chris Pratt has never been in a horror film. A lot of these actors have not been in a horror film, and I think that'd be great to see Chris take on this role because Chris, for me, I love him to death. I think he carries great charisma and great lovability, just like Ben, but I want Chris Pratt to do something different. I feel like with the role of Ben, he can do something different. A lot of his roles, we kind of see the same thing. We see a Star-Lord. We see Chris Pratt himself playing Chris Pratt. But I think if you took on the role of Ben, I wouldn't see Chris Pratt. I think he would have to give a very different performance. And that would be a great thing to see in his career choices.
Oh, more than likely, because if you look at the character of Ben from the book, when he got older, and as a kid, he's just this very, very humble guy. And Chris Pratt, for the most part, when it comes to his roles, be it Jurassic World or Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's this really, really, semi-arrogant guy that we all just grow to love because he reminds us of, maybe somebody we want to be or somebody that's just plain awesome. And this would be more than likely a chance for Chris Pratt to stretch his acting chops.
If your awesome thing was an inside pun for everything is awesome from Lego Movie, but no, totally agree with you, man. I love Chris Pratt. He's a great choice. But moving on, we have another important character who I think should have gotten a lot more love in the first film, and he didn't get a lot of dialogue. He didn't even get a lot of stuff to do, and that was Mike. Mike is very integral to the story of It in the books, and I think my choice for Mike would be David Oyelowo. I think ever since I saw him in Selma, everything the guy does is turned to pure magic. He embodies the role, and I think him playing Mike would, one, maybe give Mike some more stuff to do, and even I think if they do deliver what Mike does in the books, especially when he grows up, I think David Oyelowo will be able to deliver this outstandingly.
I'm not going to argue with the fact that David Oyelowo is a phenomenal choice. I wouldn't mind if he got cast, but somebody I would love to see is Chiwetel Ejiofor. I mean, the guy's pretty much an unknown, except for the assassin in Serenity, and of course, 12 Years a Slave. The guy's an established actor, he's got dramatic chops, and in all honesty, Chiwetel Ejiofor, David Oyelowo, I love both of these actors. They're both powerhouses, and I would not mind if either one got chosen to play Mike, because this character deserves a lot more love than he got in this first chapter, and I think he's going to get more love in the sequel. But we do have a more important character than probably the rest of them to talk about, and that is Beverly Marsh.
Beverly Marsh, hands down, probably the most important character in all of It. It Part 1, It Part 2. Beverly, I gotta say this, is in this day of age where there's not a lot of strong female roles. Well, there is now coming up, but I think Beverly is showing that strong female role that we need. And I mean, you and me both have the same choice, so why not on 3? I'm gonna count the 3, we both say it. 1, 2, 3. Jessica Chastain. She is such a phenomenal actress. And Cody, you can talk about, once I'm done, you can talk about why you think she's actually going to be casted. I agree with you on this, but Jessica, she's a phenomenal actress. Everything you see her in, Zero Dark 30, just her performance in there was outstanding. Everything else I've seen her in is fantastic. And I just love how she gives her roles, how she delivers dialogue, how she gets into the roles, those meaty roles, who she just shows so much power on the screen. And she would be perfect for Beverly Marsh. I know a lot of people were saying Amy Adams, and yes, Amy Adams would be a great choice. And yes, Beverly kind of looks like a really young Amy Adams, but I think Jessica Chastain would even be the better choice, because I think Jessica Chastain is such a phenomenal actress. I've never seen her give a bad performance again in anything, and I've seen her in some pretty bad movies, and she always overtops everyone in the movie, and she's always the outstanding one.
Jessica Chastain, she's an Oscar-winning actress. Everything that she touched turns to gold, or at least her performance does. I remember seeing her in Miss Sloane last year, and the movie wasn't really all that great, but she was phenomenal in it, and like you already said, Zero Dark 30, another phenomenal film. But the main reason And this is the reason we need to talk about, because I believe that she will actually get cast as Beverly Marsh. Because, number one, she has come out and said that she loves the film. Jessica Chastain loved it. Number two, she's already been in one of the director's previous films in Mama. I mean, Mama, I think people are very lukewarm about, but everybody agrees she was phenomenal in it. Number two, the director and Jessica Chastain are friends, and Andre Muschietti wants to get Jessica Chastain to play Beverly Marsh. Because if you look at the cards here, in all honesty, I think we might be looking at a straight flush. With all the elements in place, I think we have an 80% that Jessica Chastain will be playing Beverly Marsh in the second chapter of It.
If she does not play Beverly Marsh, I will be truly shocked, and I will only believe it is the main reason of scheduling conflicts. I don't see another reason of why no one else gets chosen for her, unless the studio wants to go in a different direction, which would be stupid of them, because Jessica Chastain, which she's getting a lot of love from TIFF this year for her new movie with Aaron Sorkin, and she's being talked about probably being nominated, and if she got casted in It as Beverly Marsh, after being nominated and maybe even winning for Molly's Game, that would be such a great thing to see. Because then, I mean, she deserves it. But I would love to see her come in and play Bev, because everything we see Bev go through in part 1, I could totally see Jessica Chastain being able to embody in part 2 and add on to that story.
And the way Bev is written, she goes through a lot of more emotional torment in the adult portion of the book. And Jessica Chastain is one of those actors, you know, she can play whatever she wants, but when it comes to the drama, when it comes to the real human emotion, that is where she excels, especially when it comes to strong female leads or female characters. And in all honesty, the way Andre Muschietti directed everybody in It Chapter 1, I cannot wait to see what he does with It Chapter 2, because if he does as good of a job with the adults as he did with the kids, I don't know if any of the kids will be nominated because they're kids, but we could, and this is my hope, look at Oscar consideration for It Chapter 2. At least I pray that's what happens.
It's a phenomenal film. I love how we already got lined up. We already got our Pennywise. I'm super happy he's coming back to play Pennywise. I'm really happy with the director and seeing what he can do with the next film. And overall, I think these fan casting that you and me chose between these two were great. If out of any of them, I think Beverly Marsh is going to be the one that actually comes true. I'd love to see some of these other ones become true. And you know what? I'll be happy with, honestly, whoever they pick, because I think the director, he picked some great choices as the kids. And if he got great performances out of those kids, I can't wait to see what he gets out of actors. Because kid actors are usually either really good or really bad.
I mean, exactly. Kid actors, they fall on one side of the spectrum, but every single one of these kids in this movie, they reminded me of that little boy from Looper or Jacob Tremblay from Roma a couple of years ago. They were all that good. Every single kid actor in this film, I'm not even joking, they are award level actors, and they all have great futures ahead of them.
Yeah, they're all young stars in the making. But guys, that is our fan casting for the next It Chapter 2. What did you guys think? I want you guys to comment down below and tell me what your fan casting is. I want to hear every one of your guys' choice. Do you guys agree with mine? Do you agree with Cody's? Do you not agree with us at all? I want to hear it down below. But of course, guys, I have to thank Cody for joining me. So Cody, tell them where they can find you.
Alright, you guys can find me here on YouTube at Cody Curtis, it's just my name, and on Twitter at _Cody_Curtis. And guys, you know, whenever a new piece of It news comes up, Zach and I, we are going to be on that to keep you guys informed.
Thank you so much for joining me on this. Guys, make sure to go subscribe to Cody. He deserves all the love. He's exactly like me. No joke. If you like my channel, you're going to love his channel. But guys, again, this is our fan casting. I hope some of these choices do get picked out. I hope some of Cody's choices get picked out, and maybe we're right. We can make a bet about this in the comments down below. But guys, again, thank you so much for watching. I love all you guys. I love all the support. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. Make sure to like and subscribe to Cody if you've never seen his channel before. And as always, guys, stay classy and have a great rest of your guys' day.